So today we've been working on getting the oil lines on, and I bought this stainless steel kit to use with it. Quite evidently it won't work with changed pipes like I have. It might work with the stock setup, but a stock set of pipes won't work with the Frankenstein rear end. So every time you change something, you got to move 3 more. These came with a big kit like this, but when it went on and you bolted it up, it stuck way up in the air like that. No pipes would work with that at all. So $300 later, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to do with it. So we've got to get it down some way. So my plan is to try and take a piece of the original oil line like this, and I've put the original fitting back in here. And I think that if I cut this oil line here somewhere, and then I use this top piece to go across here to my oil tank, that will give me a lot better fit, and the oil will come straight down and around. Either way, we're going to be fairly close to the pipes, but the only other option with the big kit was to come completely outside of the shifter, and it would just look like hell, and I didn't want to really do that. But I think this might work. These oil lines are of no good to me now, so we're going to cut them up and try to see what we can do to get some kind of angle to just come over the top of this and go down through. And I'm thinking if I cut these and I cut the bottom one, I should be able to join them with a small piece of hose down there. The other end, of course, is done with a piece of hose from Harley anyway, but it'll enable us to keep this down really close because of the reverse setup here, and frig with it till we get it fitting where we want and a solid sort of setup. So that's what the plan is. So I'm going to cut the pipe and start fitting it and see if I can come anywhere even close to it. Just going to use a regular pipe cutter of sorts, and I'm going to cut it as long as I can to give me room to work with, although I know I don't want it all the way up to the top. So we're going to kind of keep it somewhere in the middle there. Yeah, right around there, I guess. I have one marked for the shorter end. This one actually has a little more of a 90-degree angle there that I'm going to use, so I think we'll go with that. Somewhere right there. Better to be long than too short. But that's a nice round spot. There, that'll give us our first piece. And I'm just going to make some comparisons first before I cut this. So we're going to try and cut that right there. The plan is to try to get it mounted so that nothing is rubbing anywhere, which would be the biggest problem with it. It looks like it might do it. There we go. Now we'll go and see what we can do with that. Now we've got our other little piece that we're going to try to go here with. We're not, because of the bends, it's not going to line up exactly right. I could go outside of it, but I don't want to do that. So inside a piece of hose, I think if I ground these off a little bit, once I decide where to go, and then put a piece of hose over it and clamp them, that should bring me pretty close into position. I am going to use a piece of 1/2-inch stainless, go over it, protect it here at the top. So once that's on there, oh yeah, pain piece. We're not out by a whole lot, just a little tiny bit. But when you're stuck, and this will cut off to go back to the oil tank, so we're good there, and it will actually sit down in there, and I can clamp it up here because the end of the spout is up here. Because of the reverse assembly and the switch there, I can't go underneath it, I can't go behind it, I can't really go anywhere there. So I'm sort of stuck in this spot. I could try to bend it a little bit. I'm afraid that I'll crack the chrome all up on it. So I'm not quite sure. But we're close. We're real close. I guess if we took this one and we bent it, it'd be our best bet to try and move it some, but I don't think so. I think our best bet would be to try to make them face off a little better and then meet the pipe. See if I go the other direction. It's the same thing. So we're gonna have to dick around a little bit to try and get it to work. We're only out by a tiny bit. If worse comes to worse, I can always shorten these tubes up here a little bit and here a little bit and put a piece of stainless in to join it that'll kind of flex this little round position here. So I may do that. About done it. It hasn't distorted the pipe. We'll just let that cool. So now we get to test fit some of our pieces. I'm just going to put some rubber on here for the time being. We will be using the stainless here. So we'll stick that on. There. We use our piece of stainless to join these two, and when the stainless is on the top one, or rubber, whatever we decide on. There. It'll go up high enough to protect the backside of this so that it's not rubbing against it. And it'll keep, once we get the distance on this one, we'll just shove it up a little bit and it will keep us off of there so that all the things are supported and there's not too much tension on this down here. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that's going to work out just fine. Comes right back here to our oil tank. Not the best in the world, but it'll get us out of this bind that we're in. So today we're going to continue working forward on our trike project. Things are getting buttoned up and we're getting closer all the time. We've just got done putting our oil lines where we want them. It was quite a chore and getting them protected. We had to make something out of 2 kits pieces, but it'll work. It's not the prettiest thing, but in order to go up and around the reverse, I really have no choice at this point with the 1/2-inch lines. So we're going to go ahead and put the clutch cover together, and put the clutch on, and put them all together. So let's go see what's happening. So in the end, what we ended up doing was cutting a piece of the tubing, and cutting a piece of the tubing up here. And we put a piece of hose to connect these together and cut a piece of stainless hose to connect these. This will just go up over top of the reverse housing because it has a small switch assembly and stuff on that, so we have to clear that. And we can't go up any higher or it'll hit our exhaust. So this is keeping it down and keeping these down away from our exhaust. So as we get our reverse gear ready, this is the reverse gear switch, the cutoff switch. And this shuts the bike off if you put it in first and have it in reverse so that you can't blow your transmission up. There's a small gap between this little button here, and when you pop it in reverse, you can see that the gap is open. And there it's touching. And that's the way it works. But I know from past experience that getting this little plug up into place afterwards can be a chore. So I'm going to put it up in there now. Just tap it in there. Seat it on the pins. Inside the reverse assembly is a small gear here that engages with the gears when you turn it in reverse to make it turn the other way. And it just works by pushing the reverse gear down, and it's engaging in the gear. And it's engaging in this gear. To get it out, we just pull it up like that. So it's a very clean little setup. So we're getting ready to put our clutch cover together. We've got the clutch cable up top hooked in at the top of the handlebars, so it's secure. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my favorite stuff. Thread sealer. Can't hurt any there. I'm going to stick this in here. Through. So much of that I get all over my fingers. And we start to try and get our clutch cover threaded onto our rod. When we started to thread our piece on, we found that there was a lot of black powder still in there, all around the surface. Now you can see there's a shiny surface in there. And you need that for your O-ring to go on. Plus the threads were covered in dirt. The threads were covered in powder, dirt. Now let's see if we can get her started. So now we got to get our clutch mechanism together. This is the first piece that goes in the bottom. And we'll put a bunch of grease in that. And there's a T slot in the bottom of the cover, small T slot, and that'll fit right down in there. Got 3 little ball bearings to go in our greased up spots. And we put a little bit of grease in our top pieces. Now this has to go in here like this. This small clip is what holds your clutch cable. That has to hook onto this unit. So as this unit sits in here, you can see that the clutch cable in its natural position will be a little bit above it. When this goes in like that, this will hook in and your clutch cable end will lay in that. So knowing what direction we have to be, I'm just going to pop this piece out. So we're going to take this in our small unit here. We have to get our cable in it. And we slide it together like that. And that keeps this cable locked in there. It won't allow this end piece, can't come out now because that cable's locked in. So we're checking that our bearings are good. And we're just going to pop it down there into place. Now we've got our C-clip ready to go in with the sharp side out. There's always a sharp side and a rounded side on the C-clips. Now we're just going to squeeze it down and get it seated in the grooves there. I like to put the clip ends in there inside so that that it's in place. You can see that we're not here. Just need to bring that. There we go. So make sure that you're seated into the ring clip solidly all the way around before you go any farther. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Get our screws all ready with Loctite on them. One of our screws in particular has a sealing washer on it here, a little rubber sealing washer, and that's going up here in the transmission because they say there's a chance that you could get a little bit of a leak there. So it's supplied with the kit. We already have our push rod in and our oil slinger, clutch adjustment. And we need a little gasket. See if we can get lucky. Okay, we'll put that one in because we know that that's the one that has to have the rubber sealing. And that about looks like we have our reverse installed. The oil line's in place, so it's looking good. And there we go. Our reverse assembly is installed. Clutch cover's on. All there is to it. Now we just have to go around and torque these down to 10 pounds, 10 to 12 pounds, and we're all set. That's it. So now with our reverse unit installed, we've also put a longer push rod in for the unit that comes with the kit. We'll have to readjust our clutch and get it set up. And now we can go around, and I'm probably looking at the exhaust and the electrical hookups for the reverse kit. So we'll keep you informed.